All right, now that we've talked about design bid build and design build essentially, and the types of contractors being large and small and everything in between, let's talk about the architects and the designers. So, the architects and designers, first off, they're not necessarily the same thing. An architect is usually trained, they know what they're looking at, they went to school for it, they went through all those classes, but not only that, they usually are pretty strong in project management. They know all the aspects in a building and in a construction. They know what needs to go into it, and they know how to allocate the different spaces. They also know about the details of walls and roofs and how they have to meet, and all the angles and how stairs need to be code compliant, all of those things. Designers know a lot of that, but usually they're just looking to fit a design in that's going to match what you want to look at or want to see. So whenever you're working with the architects and designers up front in, say, a design bid build, they're often going to provide a wider choice whenever you're looking at your project. So they're going to give you more possibilities in a wide range of prices, especially if you say, well, I want to build an addition, but I don't know if I want to build it, say, 12 by 14 or 14 by 18, and give me some options. What I want to do with it is this and this and this. And they might give you a good idea of a few options in how those arrangements might be, and also how it will flow from one space to another. And those ranges of prices might meet your budget as well, but they might also be testing you to say, well, you could do this, but you could really expand to this. And if you really want to do everything that you have in your requirements, or that beyond your requirements into the wants as opposed to the needs, then it's going to run about this price range. And they will have a decent idea of those price ranges before even talking to a general contractor. So it gives you the opportunity to see the choices that's going to meet your requirements, your absolute needs, but you might be surprised at how many options they might suggest as well. So it's an opportunity to work on the design through the design process. Now, smaller projects may not require an architect. So an architect with, say, something really small, and I've heard the number between $10,000 and $20,000, or if you're adding a small project or doing some sort of small retrofit, architect won't be required. You can basically go ahead with the general contractor. They'll give you a couple gentlemen to work with, and you can talk with them even at the site to walk through those kinds of small projects. But another advantage is the architect can act as your agent, especially for larger projects. So if you have, say, a new house is getting built, or you're doing a large addition and you decide to move out of the house, or a commercial property that you can't move into yet, that architect is going to be out on the site inspecting to see what's going on there, to see if it's compliant with the designs that they had originally come up with. And if it's not, what's it going to take to bring that project back into compliance with the original design? The contractor also knows whenever there's something wrong with the design, or something that sort of is contradictory to the design. Say a beam is in the wrong place, or there's ductwork that goes in a different spot, or the plumbing has, they need more space than the architect originally thought. The contractor isn't going to call you up. They're going to call up the architect, and they're going to explain, hey, I've got a problem. This is my problem that I have out here. And that architect is going to be responsible for dropping everything and answering that problem. You can go about your day. You can go and do whatever work that you need to be done, but that contractor and that architect can figure things out at that time. Now, that architect will then be able to gauge and say, you know what, this can be a significant design change, and I want to call up the owner, which is going to be you, the investor, and go to talk with them about it. And they will maybe call you up and say, well, let's pull up the plans, and they will send the plans to you, for example, on PDF or another way. And they may walk through it with you to say, well, this room needs to, it's going to have a bulkhead in order to run the ductwork, or it needs to move by 6 inches, or a wall is going to be changing, or instead of having a curved wall or some feature, we really need to go back to the drawing board and redesign that in order to make sure it works, because there's a code implication for that the contractor spotted. The architects will take on all that responsibility for that. But also, as the owner's agent, they will step in and they'll say, well, Mr. Contractor, you're cutting corners. We don't like it. We want you to put in the drywall a certain way. We need you to put in the light fixtures correctly. We need you to have it wired correctly. And the architects are going to go out and spend some time inspecting and making sure that everything is going to be compliant with what you're looking for on the project. So that's also independent from the building inspectors that will also need to come out to the project to review the project, make sure it's code compliant as well. All right,